Hey everybody, what's up? Happy Thursday, May 18th. I thought I had my tripod all set up, but I don't, so it's going to be a little wiggly for a second. I think that's good. It is Thursday, May 18th. It is like 1,000 degrees today in New York City. It is so hot. It went from like sort of rainy, cold, fall-like weather to summer. I think we're going to have a little bit of spring weather next week, but today it does not feel like spring, it feels like summer. And here is your May 2017 energy update video. I'm entitling this one, Your Purpose Shapes Itself Around You. Normally I've been doing these live broadcasts on YouTube and then posting them on Facebook, but I thought today, I said, you know what? I'm going to do it on Facebook first and then upload it to YouTube. So Facebook, you are getting the first look at my energy update video for 2017, May 2017. And I am really, really excited to share this information with you. And it feels in many ways kind of basic, which, you know, the beautiful thing is, it's funny, someone on my YouTube channel, you know, had posted a comment at some point saying like, all you guys do is talk about the same stuff. Everyone spiritual is just talking about the same shit. I'm like, duh, dude, none of this is new. None of this is new. This is the same information that we've been talking about for tens of thousands of years. It's just the way that we talk about it and the way we perceive it and the way that we can use it as an active tool in our life changes. And so my intention today is to shed some light on what we can expect for May and going forward. And really, this is just sort of a general way to really approach a lot of things in our lives, not so much specific to May, although it is kind of where we are right now. And then also we're going to talk about some tools that I'm going to give you, some questions to ask yourself, which I got to write this on my notes. Ask so that I remember, because I said I was going to give you questions to ask. I got to write it down now so that I be sure to remember to give them to you. I'm also going to talk about my energy work, and I'm going to talk about this woman, Roseanne, that I've been working with. All of this and more in the upcoming video. Really, really quick, though, I want to give you a heads up about the soul expansion calls. We have the last 2 calls for May, still available for registration. I'll put the link in the description. The energy stuff that we've been doing has been incredible, and because of the work that I've been doing with this woman, Roseanne, and then the work that I've been doing myself, the energy that is coming through is like massive. When I'm doing the sound healing, and the notes that I'm holding, it feels like a choir is singing through me. It is crazy. And I've even had a couple of people comment, some people that were I've been regulars in the group, comment like, I don't know what's going on, but man, it's so much more powerful and so much more dynamic and so much more profound. So I really, really would love for you to be a part of this. Again, when you sign up for the full series, you get the MP3 recordings of the previous calls, even if you weren't able to make them. And if you're on the other side of the world and you're not able to make the calls live, you will still get the MP3 mailed to you so you can experience it after the fact. And I just got an email from a woman today who said, you know, I just was listening to the recording because I wasn't able to make it live. She said, and man, you are right. The energy work was just as powerful when I listened to it as it would have been if I had done it live. So real quick, I just wanted to make that announcement. And again, I'll put the link to sign up for the Soul Expansion series, or you can just go to my website, go to thelightones.com, click the events tab, and you'll see the link to go to Eventbrite. That'll be even easier. So your purpose shapes itself around you. This is the theme and the topic that I want to share with you. And by the way, I might get kind of sweaty because I'm in my room and I have the windows closed because it's so hot outside, and I had my AC on, but I turned it off because the background noise is too much and I didn't want to interfere. That's how much I love you. I am willing to sit in this hot, sweaty apartment with no AC just to bring you clear audio. Anyway, here we go. Your purpose shapes itself around you. And I've got my notes right here, so if I'm looking down here to this part of the screen, it's just because I'm looking at my notes. I want to make sure that I get this really, really clear for you. You know, I think a lot of times in spiritual practices and in the spiritual community, and I will raise my hand absolutely and say that this has been a way that I have lived much of my life. We get trapped in this loop of waiting for guidance, of waiting for a sign, of waiting for our angels or our guides or our teachers or, our beings, our beings or our higher self or whoever, to come along and give us a sign, to come along and tell us where to go, to come along and tell us what to do, to come along and say, hey, go do this thing or go in this direction. And that certainly happens at points along the path. And especially that happens when we are at the beginning of our spiritual awakening, at the beginning of our spiritual journey. But what happens when you're not at the beginning of your spiritual journey anymore? What happens when you have stepped into your calling, when you have stepped into your truth? What happens when you are like many of us, having an active practice or having an active life, spiritual life, whether you're doing what I do or you're working in a bank and just have a spiritual life, it doesn't matter. It's not about what you do. Your purpose is not necessarily tied to how you do it, because your purpose shapes itself around you. So often we get this idea that we are waiting somehow for a sign or a message from above to tell us where to go and what to do, when in fact, now that we are in these higher frequencies, and this is what has happened also with these timelines collapsing and the shifting into the new timelines and the merging of these energies, we are now really in a much higher vibrational reality. And we are now in this place where we are swimming in the same pool as our guides, as our team, as our angels, as our higher selves, whatever you want to call it. There never has been any separation. But in the 3D experience, in the experiment of the 3D world, we were given the opportunity to see what it would be like to have the choice to believe that we were separate, or to have the feeling that we were separate, and what would that do for us and do to us, and how would we learn through that environment. But now we're not in this low dense 3D environment anymore. And if you're watching this, I guarantee you that you're not there. Now, certainly there may be plenty of people who are still stuck in that illusion, but it's like this loop that has been created for them to continue to experience that 3D world. As a planet, Earth has ascended, and the Schumann resonance, which has been spiking well over 100 several times in the past couple of weeks, the vibration of Earth is not stuck in 3D anymore. She has ascended, and we have ascended with her in, raising the vibration. And the people who are still choosing to have this low, dense, fear-based 3D experience, it's almost like they're in this sort of holographic reality where they can continue to experience this. But I don't want to get too deep into that, because that's not the point of this video. What I'm talking about is that your purpose is waiting for activation from you. You are the catalyst. In this higher vibrational reality, we are no longer waiting to be granted something from above. It's never been outside of us, but now even more so it is not outside of us, because we're all swimming around in the same pool. And so we're not perceiving our guides or our angels or our watchers or our teachers, whatever you want to call them, as somewhere out there. We are now shoulder to shoulder with them. And I've been talking about this for a while, but we are now shoulder to shoulder with them. We have merged with our higher selves. We are reuniting with ourselves. We are reunited with ourselves. So we are complete and we are whole. We are now embodying a much bigger quotient of light than we have ever embodied before. So we're not going to get an engraved invitation to go out and live the purpose that we came here to live, especially since so many of us have already been activated on that purpose. I'll use my own example. And I've been talking about this over the past couple of weeks, the past couple of months. I've been sharing with you, how I moved to New York, and all of a sudden my private clients came to a screeching halt, and I got a little bit freaked out. But what I realized a couple of days ago, talking with a friend of mine, he was like, "Andrew, I know you've been kind of freaking out." He's like, "But isn't this what you were asking for?" And he reminded me that last year, sort of the end of last year, I started saying, I really do want to get to the point where I don't have so many clients in a week, because I was doing sometimes 20 clients in a week. He said, and I was saying, I want to get to the point where my group stuff is sort of the primary focus, so that I don't have to do as many clients, so that I can focus on other projects, like the radio show that I'm getting ready to start in June. I think June 22nd is the date. It's not 100% official, but I'll definitely announce it. But keep your eyes and ears open for my radio show. I'm also working on some courses, some online courses, which I'll also talk a little bit about. So what my friend told me, he was like, "Andrew, you kind of have the life that you've been asking for, so why are you so worried about it?" And it was this moment of clarity that it snapped me out of my belief that somehow something was wrong, and I looked at it in a whole new perspective, and I thought, wow, I really am living the life that I talked about for the past 9 months of wanting to live, and here it is. So I know that my purpose is to help others find freedom, to free themselves from the limitations, to free them from their smallness, to free them from the illusion. The foundation and the core of my work is about freedom, whether it's an energy session and I'm helping you free energetic patterns or energetic blocks, or whether it's a one-on-one session and we're doing it more through a dialogue and a conversation and through intuitive work. My job is to remind people of the truth of who they are and to reflect that truth to them. My job is to create spaces, to be a vessel, to be a mirror for the divinity that exists within all of us. Now, when I got the call in 2012, when I got that wake up, when I got the big clairaudient, the final clairaudient experience that sort of blew my mind and brought me to my knees, if I had ignored that call, and here's the thing, your purpose, my purpose, shapes itself around me. And what I mean by that is that my purpose shapes itself around my choices, my actions, and my beliefs. The purpose has already been chosen. I already agreed to come back to earth in this lifetime to do this. So that's a given. Now my job is, once I have heard that call, to honor it and to do whatever I can to show up in service of it. But my purpose is shaping itself around me. And if I had ignored that call in 2012, then my purpose would be shaping itself around me in a way to honor my unwillingness, because it's a free will situation that we live in. So my willingness to follow the call and say yes created a timeline and a reality that I am in now. If I had been unwilling, then my purpose would have shaped itself around my unwillingness, and it would be pushing me to get to the point where I was finally ready to say yes to it, because that is the point. Source is always moving us towards the highest expression. Source is always calling us back. Here's the thing. The embodiment of this divine spark that we are is like a magnet. And if you want to really simplify it, it's like Source breaks off a part of itself, puts it in this body called Andrew, sends Andrew down to earth and says, okay, Andrew, now go. Now your job for the rest of your life is to get back home. It's like a piece of a magnet that just wants to get back to Source. We are always being called back to a higher expression. So your purpose is shaping itself around you and your choices. So there isn't going to be anything outside of you. There never really is anything outside of you that is going to force you. All it is doing is honoring what you have chosen. And if you're choosing not to follow it, your purpose shapes itself around your unwillingness. Now, for me, when I first started doing readings, I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea how to do it. I had no idea what to call myself. But I started with what seemed like the path of least resistance, which was doing oracle cards, because it was something that was a physical manifestation. It was a physical tool. It was something that I could visually see and say, okay, this is the music card. So let's think of them, let's find a way to connect the message to music. So it was really a way for me to sort of have these very basic, very simple illustrations in front of me of the information that I was receiving, so that I could trust it, so that I could trust myself, because it was on-the-job training. But then I decided that I wanted to move into new stuff, and I started doing energy work. So my purpose shaped itself around my desire to do energy work. Then I wanted to start doing classes and start doing groups. So then my purpose shaped itself around my desire to do energy work and do groups. When we show up and we are willing and we say yes to our purpose meets us there. Okay? So this is why we're always talking about the constant growth and the evolution of everything, because it's always opening up and moving. It's a dance. Your relationship with Source, which is really just your relationship with yourself because you are Source, is a dance. It's growing, it's evolving, it's fluid, it's alive. It's not stagnant. So the umbrella of your purpose will always be the same. The details might change, right? What you call yourself, or what your website looks like, or what your business card says, or how you practice what you do will change. But the umbrella of the big purpose of me, for example, coming here to be a messenger of freedom and an oracle for the divine, that's my big job. That's the big picture. And how that big picture sort of breaks itself down is up to me. All I have to do is be willing. So here's the thing. If I had ignored my call, then Source, my purpose, would have shaped itself around my unwillingness, and it would have done everything it could to push me to see the truth, which in my case meant that my life had to get really shitty and really dark and really sad and really scary in order for me to go, oh my God, I see it. They've been tapping me on the shoulder and knocking on the door for 15 years, but through the unwillingness to see it and surrender and say yes to it, the unwillingness to get out of my head and believe that the force of my will could create this, which is only the ego, finally I got the picture. So it would continue to push me, and your purpose will continue to push you to see it until you finally do. So whatever we are doing at any moment, whatever we are choosing, our purpose is shaping itself around our choices to see our purpose more clearly. And that's always going to be a new level of awareness, expanding, growing, moving on, moving forward, whatever it is. So it continues to reveal itself, and when we are fighting against our purpose, that's when things get rough. And I've talked about this before, and I want to give you this image again. that any experience, any life is an upward spiral, right? It's like the DNA helix, and we are always moving up and we are always expanding up. And because it is a spiral, we oftentimes find ourselves having the same experience and going, oh my God, this is Groundhog Day. Why am I dealing with this again? And whenever we're dealing with something again, it's only ever because we have new information and we're given an opportunity to love it more deeply and accept it more unconditionally. So when we are fighting against our purpose, we spiral down. It's like going down an up escalator. And I know we've done this. I used to do this all the time. It's like the escalator's going up, and as a kid, you decide you want to see how much energy and how much effort and how fast you have to go to get to the bottom of the up escalator, because it's an upward spiral. It's an expansive spiral. So when I am fighting against it using the force of my will, I am spiraling down. I am trying to climb down the upward spiraling escalator, right? And you imagine that. If you imagine this thing that's spiraling up, and if you live in San Francisco down at FF Center, there are those spiral escalators over by Nordstrom, so you can even try it. But when you're spiraling down, it becomes a force of will. And when you are only going by the will of your head, you are moving away from your truth. This is the thing, and I've talked about this before. In every single moment, with every single choice, only one of two things is happening. You're either moving away from your truth or towards it. And the only way, oftentimes, that you know which way you're moving is by how you feel. And when you are moving away from your truth, you have, in essence, put your helpers in quarantine, because Source cannot help you carve a path away from your truth, because that is Source. Why would Source ever carve a path for itself to move away from itself? So when you are spiraling down using the force of your will and deciding that, no, I know better, and you're sort of this egomaniac kind of megalomaniac personality type because you're totally closed off from your truth, this is where the truth lies. And I've said this before, true, only you know what truth feels like, and truth doesn't come from here. So when you're spiraling down, it becomes a force of will, and you are drawing from a limited supply, because you are only drawing from the illusion. You are not tapped into the flow of Source, the abundance, and the eternal infinite supply. So when you are drawing from a limited supply and moving away from your truth, Source cannot help you pave a path away from yourself. It can continue to be like, hey, we're over here. We're going to keep throwing rocks and boulders and pebbles at you. And we're going to have to, things are just going to have to get really bad and really dark and really lost for you, because you're moving away from the truth, which is the bonfire. Imagine you're in the wilderness and this bonfire is Source. That's your truth. And you decide, nope, I'm going to do it my own way. I'm going to go my own way. And Source says, all right, I love you so much, I'm willing to let you do that. And you do. And you get further and further and further and further away. And before you know it, you're fucking freezing. You're lost. You're alone. And you're afraid, because you have depleted all of your resources through the force of your will. But an amazing thing happens when you align, when you pivot and you start moving towards your truth. Sorry, I just spit. I'm getting really excited. When you pivot and start moving towards your truth, and you see the bonfire, and you say, or it's over there, and you say, I don't know how far it is, I don't know how long it's going to take me there, and I don't know how, but I'm moving towards it. That's when you take your helpers out of quarantine and you begin to spiral up. That's when things open up. That's when things get exciting again, then things get expansive again, because now you're spiraling up. You're letting yourself be carried, and you're not trying to go down the up escalator anymore. So when we are moving from fear or lack or anger, we are in a downward spiral catalyst, and purpose will shape itself around us to get us to go back up, to try to push us in the direction of going back up the spiral. It can't push you down. Only you can do that. Only you can believe the illusion is real. Only you can believe that the fear and the doubt and the anger is real. Only you can create from something at the end, believing that your reality stops at the end of your nose. So you're going down the up escalator, and that's when you learn through discomfort. That's when you learn through pain. That's when you learn through the lower expression and a massive output of energy. When you think about going down that up escalator, you have to put out like 4 times as much effort just to go 1 or 2 steps, right? It's a massive output of energy, because you're not letting this upward flow carry you. And that's when you deplete yourself. That's when you get sick. That's when you deplete your finances. That's when you become angry and bitter and jaded, because energy is always moving upwards and expanding. It's always going up and out in this spiral, what is this, ladder? So when you choose to follow the upward spiral, then purpose shapes itself around your choices and uplifts you. It carries you. And then you are in co-creation with yourself, as opposed to being in an adversarial relationship with yourself. Do you feel me? So this is really simple. When you are choosing the downward spiral, you are choosing from the imbalanced ego and you are trying to separate yourself. I know it better. I do it better. I'm better than him. I'm better than her. I'm worse than him. I'm worse than her. I gotta win. I gotta defeat. I gotta destroy. That's the ego. That's the downward spiral. When you are choosing the upward spiral, you are allowing the heart to be the catalyst. You are allowing the intuition to be the informant, and you are moving back to unity. You are moving back towards that little magnetic piece of source within you is calling you back to the one, to unity, and you are remembering, you are reuniting, you are expanding and growing and seeing that you have the source that created all things within you, and as you move closer to it, it begins to move outside of you and recreate the body and the vessel and the energy field. And this is also what we're going to talk about, is how do we get rid of these programs? And we're going to talk about that. And we talk about surrender a lot in the spiritual community. The idea of surrender has nothing to do with anything outside of you. I get this all the time. Someone who's coming from an ego-based perspective thinks that surrender means weakness, that I lost, that I'm bad, that I'm the loser, that someone else defeated me, that I'm weak. That is not what the fuck surrender means. Surrender is surrendering to yourself. Surrender is saying there is nothing outside of me. There's only this thing inside of me, this truth that just keeps telling me that I got to go in this new direction and that what I want and desire is over here, and I keep trying to go down the up escalator. So when you surrender, you are surrendering for yourself. When you care for yourself, when you love yourself, when you honor your truth, and you're the only one that knows what that truth feels like. When you say yes to yourself, you begin to spiral up. When you stop forcing and you just let go and allow, that's when your purpose reshapes itself around your willingness to surrender to the truth of who you are, to the work that you already agreed to do in this lifetime. This is the thing. You already said yes to this. You had a hand in writing this lifetime. You had a hand in creating this because you are the one that created it. Yeah, sure, you may be a smaller container of it, but it's still the exact same stuff. So we often get stuck in this loop of waiting for guidance or a sign, but you are the catalyst for it. Your purpose is waiting for activation from you. Your purpose is waiting for you to say, I want to go here, I want to do this, and this is what I'm doing. And then purpose says, fuck yeah, let's go. We need to bring him this opportunity. We need to bring him these resources. We need to bring him these circumstances so that he can do what he came here to do, because we're the boots on the ground. We're the away team. We're the ones down here in the physical incarnation, and the rest of us is the unseen, non-physical, or perhaps they are physical in another dimension, but they're saying, hey, Andrew is the thing that is real right now. Andrew is the thing that is, we are focused through the awareness of this story called Andrew. So whatever Andrew says, when Andrew is moving up the spiral escalator and moving towards that bonfire, then we will do whatever we can to get him what he needs. But when I pivot and I start going down that up escalator, that's when they go, oh, well, he's off on a tangent. We'll just sit here and wait. A perfect example is, oh my God, it's so hot in here, you guys. It's seriously like 97 degrees outside right now. A perfect example of this is that I've been talking about wanting to do these online courses. And so I went to Udemy and I started, I signed up and I started doing my profile there, and I had these ideas that I was going to do, and I started to craft these agendas and these curriculums for it. But Udemy has a very high level of, they have a very high production value level, which of course they should, because if you're paying $50 or $100 or $200 or whatever it is, I mean, Udemy has quite a range of prices. But if you're paying for something, you want it to be good quality. You want it to be something that, is high level production value. You don't want to hear someone, a baby crying in the background, or have 480p, resolution. So I was doing this, you know, I had my thing I was trying to record for Udemy, but I'm in this apartment on the ground floor and it's really, really loud out there. I'm on the first floor, so I'm just, about like 6-8 feet off the ground, and there's people driving by with their cars, car alarms, blasting their music, you know, sirens, whatever. So I had to try to find a way to record in a place that wasn't loud and distracted and wouldn't have lots of background noise. So I was in the hallway. The hallway was the only place in the apartment that I could find that didn't have a window, because the sound is coming through the window. So I closed my bedroom door, I hung a blanket on the door, I set up my little thing in the hallway, I hung a comforter over here to absorb all the sound, I put blankets on the floor. Like, I was doing everything I could to try to create a sound studio in my freaking hallway. And it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working. Everything I tried, it was an echoey sound, it was poor quality, and I thought, you know what? I finally said one day, I said, I've had it. I'm not going to do it this way. I still want to do the courses, but I don't want to do it this way. I don't want it to be this poor quality thing where I have to feel like I'm putting out a subpar product and having to work so hard, going down the up escalator, working so hard to force this to happen. So I said, okay, this is it. I said, I'm going to do the classes, but I'm not going to do them like this. So until further notice, I'm putting it on hold, and I just proceeded with my life. I'm not even kidding you. 2 days later, I got an email from this dude who had been following my work for a while. He and his wife have just started this business, and they want to produce my online courses. They have a whole production team, they have sound people, they have video people, and they want to help me produce them and sell these courses, which is exactly what I was going to do before. And I had also been saying, I just want to get paid to show up and talk. I don't want to have to do any of the production stuff, because I'm at a point now with what I'm doing and where I'm being called that it's going beyond what my skills are. Like, I can sit here with my tripod on my iPhone and I can edit it on my laptop, but I'm not a sound guy. I'm not a videographer. I don't have access to a sound studio. So I said, okay, Spirit, now it's your turn. I've shown up and I've said I am willing to do this and I'm ready, but I'm not going to do it like this. So until you bring me the resources and the opportunity, this is on hold. Bam. 48 hours later, I get an email from a dude. I've already signed an agreement with him, and I'm going to be doing that in the next couple of months. So keep your eyes open for this really exciting thing that I'm going to be a part of. That's a very, very small example. But the point of this is that when we allow ourselves to spiral up and be carried by the flow, that's when amazing, magical things start to happen that seem almost miraculous. So here's something that I want to present to you. This idea of learning and growing through struggle and adversity. We are so good at that. We are so good at thinking, and we've been taught and we've been conditioned, and in many ways we have been programmed. Literally, biologically, think of evolution. Only the strong survive. Survival of the fittest. If you're the most savage, the most brutal, the most aggressive, the most tough, the most willing to just grit your teeth and just grin and bear it, then you're going to win and you're going to survive. That is how we have been biologically created. We have been programmed to evolve through the downward spiral. We have been programmed to believe that if we're not struggling, if we're not sacrificing, if it doesn't hurt, then we're not growing. But what if? Because think about it. As a divine human, as a spark of the divine, doesn't it seem unnatural to learn through pain and suffering and struggle? I mean, yes, the 3D Earth School, that's what it was created for. The 3D Earth School was created so that we could experience this incredible density and this incredible sense of separation and isolation to see how would we exist in that reality. How would an infinite being survive and grow and evolve in this reality that tells them they are finite? But doesn't that seem antithetical? Doesn't that seem sort of like the opposite of who and what we really are? So this is what I want to put forward to you, and this is what I want to talk about. What would it be like to cut out the idea of learning through struggle? What would it be like to begin to ask the questions? Show me how to learn through love. Show me how to learn through abundance. Show me how to learn through joy. Show me how to learn through fulfillment. Show me how to learn through satisfaction. Let me remember what it's like to learn through the lens of being divine. That's revolutionary. That's who we really are. What would it be like to end the pattern and the program of learning through struggle and adversity? What would that mean? That is massive. And this is what I want to talk to you about, this woman, Roseanne, that I have been working with. And I'm going to put her contact information in the description, because she contacted me a couple of weeks ago, and she's doing this new energy work. It's called the Grace Reset. And basically what this energy work does, is it completely removes the struggle and adversity programs from the biology. Because cellularly, it is built into our DNA. It is woven into the fabric of the body to learn and grow through struggle. And that's the very real part of it. Because if you think about it, and I had been thinking about it, was so beautiful the way that this worked, because I had already been thinking about this. I was thinking, even in my clearest, even in the moments when I am the most aligned and the most on my game and the most just in the zone, when I am moving up that spiral escalator and letting it carry me forward, I still feel like there was something within me that was telling me, no, you got to struggle, you got to suffer. It's going to fall apart. Don't get too cocky. Don't get too proud. Don't get too happy, because that's when God's going to strike you down. There was like this primal thing in my brain that was pushing me to struggle and to trip and to fall. Because don't we talk about all that time? Oh, it's not the falling that teaches you, it's the getting back up. And even in spiritual communities, we love the pain. We elevate the struggle. We elevate the suffering. And yes, it's important to love it. It's important to be unconditional in the love of your experience. But what if you could shift your experience from learning through struggle to learning through ease? Learning through joy, learning through love, learning through expansion. Because I don't know about you, but I have learned plenty through pain and suffering and anger and lack and not having and scarcity. I've learned a lot through that. Fear has been a great teacher. But I'm ready to let that go. I'm ready to learn through the upward spiral. I'm ready to expand and evolve and transform. So this woman Roseanne is offering this energy work. I'm going to put her contact info in the description. Now here's the thing. It really is very powerful energy work, and the beings that she works with, this work isn't really for everybody, and that it isn't in a judgmental sense. It's just that if you haven't been doing your spiritual work, and if you're not present within your experience at a certain point, it's like going into the gym for the first time and trying to bench press 200 pounds. It's just your body's not ready for it. So part of this work is about putting you on the path to preparing yourself for it. So you can contact her, and then she will let you know. She'll set up a time with you to do a Skype session, just to sort of have an interview and chat with you and sort of let you know what the deal is and how it works. And then she'll decide, or her beings will say, yes, this person's ready. Because it really is about honoring the free will and honoring the vessel, right? You don't want to just blow the fuse or blow the circuit. The amazing thing that has occurred through these soul expansion classes is this past Sunday, that teaching started coming in, and that energy started coming in, and the energy was about removing these programs from the physical vessel, removing the suffering and the adversity programs from the biology, so that, because it's like this thing where you mentally know, it's like you're mentally aware of, like, I don't believe this, I don't want to suffer, this isn't what I want anymore, but why do things keep falling apart, or why do things seem to always come to a screeching halt? It's because there is on some level, and not in everybody, but in many of us, there is on some level still this program that is running that says, no, adversity is how we grow and evolve, and that's part of this evolutionary process. So now we're moving beyond that. So my energy work has also taken this turn into, now the energy sessions that I'm doing are about removing that from the vessel and from the body. So if you're interested in the soul expansion calls, this month's thing is called this month's topic is embodying the light, and it is about that energy work. And then if you do feel guided to book a one-on-one session, then we can work with that in the energy work session as well. So that's what May is all about. May is about understanding that now that we are in this new higher frequency, clearer perspective reality, your purpose shapes itself around you. You don't need an invitation to be who you came here to be. You don't need permission to do it. You already said yes to it. That's why you're here. So beginning to allow yourself to choose the higher expression and to choose the upward spiral. That's what it's all about. And at any given moment, you can ask yourself, does this feel like I'm going down the up escalator? Does this feel like a downward catalyst? Or does this feel like an upward catalyst? Because your choice is the catalyst. Your belief is the catalyst. Your decision is what tells your purpose what to do. So when you're moving away from the truth, you're saying to purpose, okay, purpose, I'm going to need you to sort of knock me upside the head so that I can remember, oh, wait, I'm moving in the wrong direction. So these are the questions that I want to give you. And we already sort of touched on it. But I want you to begin to ask yourself over the next few weeks. Because here's the other thing, guys, this is not letting up anytime soon. This intensity has only just begun. And as these energies get more and more intense, then we see things continuing to fall apart. But you got to start asking yourself the question, how good can it get? How bright can I shine? How big can this opportunity be? How grand can this possibility be? How can I learn through love? How can I learn through abundance? How can I learn through expansion? How can I learn through grace? How can I learn through excitement? How can I learn through ease? How can I learn through community? How can I learn through opportunity? How can I learn through collaboration? How can I learn through excitement, through joy? These are the questions, not like, oh shit, what now? Oh great, how much worse can it get? All right, what's next? Here we go. You see the difference? Now here's the thing. Choosing the upward spiral doesn't mean, especially at the beginning, because that dark night of the soul is also part of it. When you are so far down the upward escalator, this is why oftentimes in the beginning of the spiritual journey, see people say, well, I fucking woke up and then my life fell apart. Well, it's because you woke up and you realized how far away from your truth you had gotten, and your job is to make the journey back to your truth. So think about it. If the bonfire in the middle of the woods is your truth that keeps you warm, and it's where your people are and your tribe is and your community is and the comfort and the safety, and then you decide that you're going to do this downward spiral thing, which we all do, that's part of the journey. Any life is just a journey back to the truth of who you are. An experience of a lifetime is really just, you are in source, you break yourself off from source, you decide to move as far away from source as you can get, and then you spend the next lifetime getting back, right? So when you awaken, the realization is that, oh, I'm at the bottom of the escalator. Oh, I'm like 100 miles away from the bonfire. So now I gotta get back to the bonfire. And what does that require? Sometimes that is arduous. Sometimes that is stressful. Sometimes that is scary. Sometimes it requires you of letting go of all of the things, because when you honor your truth, all that is untrue immediately begins to fall away. But we just want to grab it because we see it falling away and we go, oh my God, no, I need this. I need this pain. I need this limiting belief. I need this struggle. I need this suffering. So we keep grabbing onto it. But Source is saying, no, dear, just let it go. Let the untrue things fall away and you will continue to move closer to your truth. And once you get there and you have chosen your purpose and you've done the work and you are on the path and you are ready and you have said yes, you have committed yourself to a life of truth, whatever that means for you, that's when you get to start learning through the upward spiral, because now you're in your truth. You're not outside of it believing that you're somehow separate of it or that you're undeserving or unworthy or you're a sinner or you're broken. Right? So that's what I want to share with you for May, is ask those questions. How can I learn through the upward spiral? Spirit, show me. Because your purpose shapes itself around you. What you choose, what you believe, the actions that you take, that's what Spirit and that's what Source and that's what your purpose will build itself around you. Because you are the divine spark. You are the infinite creator. You are the one who agreed to come here and be on this planet at this point in time. And that is one of the most challenging things to do, because we have been biologically programmed to learn through struggle and adversity. But it doesn't have to be like that anymore when we're willing to do the work and get back to that truth. And then we can do these energy work sessions, or we can do and it doesn't have to be just with me. It doesn't have to be just with Roseanne. It doesn't have to be just through these soul expansion things. I don't want you to think that the only reason I do these videos is so that I can sell you a session. That's not it. If you don't fucking believe what I do, fine, awesome. Go find somebody else. But there are people who can do this work to help open you up and release and remove these programs from you. So I offer what I offer because that's my job, because that's the purpose that I have chosen to live in this lifetime. And my role is to be a messenger of freedom and an oracle of truth. So if it's not with me, then go find someone else. And I know that you will be happy and successful, because at some point we all will. The point is, begin to ask those questions. Your purpose shapes itself around you. Go to my website, thelightones.com, click the events tab, you'll see the link to the soul expansion, click the sessions tab, you'll see the sessions that I offer. I will put Roseanne's contact info in the description so that you can contact her if you feel like you're ready for one of these sessions, and she will let you know if you are. YouTube, The Lighted Ones, Instagram, The Lighted Ones, Facebook, The Lighted Ones, thelightones.com, everything The Lighted Ones. I'm going to end this video so that I can fucking turn on my air conditioner again. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. I hope the rest of May brings you nothing but ease and joy. And don't forget, no matter what, that you are the force that creates worlds. So what in the hell do you have to be worried about? Don't let those fears define you anymore. Turn, look them in the eye, and say, so fucking what? All right, you guys. Mwah. Love you. Talk to you later. Bye.